Man, I never get tired of seeing that intro. Welcome back, guys. We are back. We are back. Barrel Burner Sit Down is back. Everybody say hello to Jimmy, the motherfucking Deuce. Barrel Burner's historian.
Deuce
First
is
live
loose.
patcher in. First live 50 patcher in. Not 50, Matt Mafia patch. My old golf brother from another mother. And we are back, guys. I'm doing a Room 101 hit and run today for today's podcast.
And I am doing a Fratello.
Very nice. We're doing a little bit different format today, guys. We're going to just goof off a little while. Then we got a fun top 5 list for you today that we're going to rank stuff. But y'all know me. You know the Deuce. We're little history buffs, and we're hooked on this thing called the Curse of Oak Island.
The Curse of Oak Island.
Curse. Will the gold ever be found, guys? My wife says you're stupid for watching that show. They're never going to find nothing. I go, they find something every episode. It may not be the big prize, but they find treasures.
They find. I mean, when you set out to find one thing and you end up rewriting history because of it, you've done more for the world than you have for yourself.
And when you find a 200-year-old coin, that's treasure. When you find copper, I mean, you got gold, a button off of a suit, it's all treasure. I mean, they're finding stuff. But yeah, what you said is the biggest. I mean, rewriting history is ridiculous. I mean, you've already predated the island. I think we're 200 years predating now.
Yeah.
We're 200 years before anybody should have been on that island, and we're finding evidence of shit that they've covered up. I mean, they went out of their way to hide some of these structures and bury them when they left the island, so nobody thinks they've been there.
And I find it interesting that there's so much on Lot 5. And that guy who owned it sat on it for all those years and had
no money and no knowledge.
No clue. Yeah.
And the Laginas pretty much own the whole island now. It's probably like 3 plots they don't own, and the other ones know something's there, and they're like, "I'll be part of your process, but yeah, I'm not going to sell."
Yeah. So you and I may have talked about this before, but I remember in first grade. Seeing that article that was in Reader's Digest.
Yeah, I remember we talked about this. Yeah,
it had been around a while, but you know how school. I was at this real. I mean, our first and second grade classes were together. Is how small the school was.
Right.
And so anything like that they could keep. And I remember that it was so interesting. And then when I was in college in the early 90s is when it had its big flare up again. Somebody decided that, hey, I'm going out there and we're gonna find this. So I mean this has been a lifelong interest to me. So everybody's like, what do you keep watching? You keep watching? Because
I'm vested, man. I can't go nowhere.
I'm invested. I want to know those little things, and and you start putting together all these things across the world. And the one that has always gotten me is when they went to Rosalind Chapel.
Yes. And you find the cross being etched, and you find these symbols, and the road system being the same, and.
For me, it was the corn.
Oh yeah, the corn symbol that meant gold.
They had the corn etched in all these symbols, and they're like, "Wait, you don't grow corn in England. They only play corn is an American product." So that should tell you right then there was early trading before it's accepted.
Yeah. Yeah, and see, and I was a totally different way. Like, you knew about Oak Island that far back. I didn't start watching Oak Island to probably season 4 or 5. I kept seeing the previews of it. Never really turned it on. And then one day I was somewhere getting my oil changed, and they had it playing, and I watched an episode. It was one of the earlier seasons. There wasn't a lot going on. And I watched that episode, and I was like, oh, my God. So I immediately started, when I got home, binge watching. And I caught up to where the current season was, and now it's like, I have to watch it live. If I miss it live, I'm watching it the first morning before there's any spoilers.
The next day, yeah. That's kind of where I'm at too.
Yeah, and it's just I'm hooked. I mean, I love history. I love this aspect. Like I tried getting into Skinwalker Ranch. I could not do it. I tried. I watched maybe one season, two season. To me, that felt like the old days because I know you know, but I used to be part of a ghost hunting group.
Right.
So we were under Taps, the people that did the ghost hunters on TV. So we were a local group here in Louisiana. So they would send leads to ghost hunters because everybody wanted to be on TV. So they would send leads, and when they were in our area, they would send us out to investigate first. And then if it was anything worth it, then they would get involved and they may become film. So back in that day when I was into it big, I would watch all these ghost hunter shows, and Ghost Hunters was legit. And there was another one called Ghost Adventures, where it's like they screamed and they staged all this stuff. And to me, that's how I feel when I'm watching Skinwalker Ranch. I immediately think Ghost Adventures. And it's like, this shit is fake. This shit is staged. I couldn't watch it. Because every episode of Ghost Adventures was like, oh, the camera shakes or the camera falls down and they scream like something's after them. Like every single episode, they see a ghost. Where Ghost Adventures, you may have the whole season and see two things that they can't explain. I mean, it was more legit. Yeah. So Skinwalker Ranch.
Ghost Adventures got me in the beginning with I remember him wearing a chain and shaking it and calling out and all this stuff. And I'm like, I mean, if somebody got possessed every time you went to someplace, it would, if you believe in a possession, that would just riddle your body. And, he'd have exorcism every week. Yeah. But I like Skinwalker Ranch. Again, it's one of those things that mid-90s, the family who had it before, the big aerospace guy, before Bigelow bought it. I remember that family and them talking about all the stuff that was going on. So again, it was something that I was super interested in 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So
maybe I gotta give it another chance, but it seemed like it was going nowhere. They would fly these drones. The drone would crash, or there would be some kind of signal issue, and it's like it never went.
I think last season they did, to me, more than they had previously. They're starting to get all these electronics and stuff together.
Yeah,
and they were able to catch a couple of things infrared that were just, I don't know how else you would explain it. I mean,
unexplainable.
It looks like a portal, as Einstein had showed it.
So that's what's going on in Jersey right now. All these portals opening.
Oh God! That whole thing with Jersey is interesting and unsettling at the same time.
It's not unsettling. The government's doing it, or they would have shot them down already. The government would not allow those to fly over our states and record stuff if they belong to another country. 100%.
They did it 2 years ago with that damn balloon that China sent over. Yeah. And it flew clear across.
But did China really send it?
Well, let's see, end of November, I think Canadian Air Force with the U.S. Air Force shot another one down over Canada.
Yeah, I'm going to say this, and then we'll get off the drone situation. The government's out is saying it's not our drones. Okay, maybe it's your contractor's drones. You may not physically own the drones, but you're controlling what they're doing. Or they would have been blasted. Yeah. Maybe not the first day, maybe not the second day, but after 3 or 4 days of still being there, we would have shot them down.
Yeah.
100%.
I agree. And working in aviation, if they're tied somewhere into aviation, they've got to have a red light, green light. And every ones that I've seen have red light, green lights on them, which means that they are, I'm not going to say sanctioned by the FAA, but they're following FAA rules.
Somebody knows what they are, 100%.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, that's even maybe that's even more unsettling.
So here's the thing with the government, you know as well as I do. This is going on over here on the right. So what are you trying to distract us from on the left? Is it the Diddy trial? Do you not want us to know what's going on in the courtroom right now? What are you hiding? Whole thing with Epstein. Thing with Epstein. Epstein hangs himself. Giselle, Maxwell, his assistant, goes to court. Not once did they report her court proceedings, the hearings, who she named. That was swept under the rug, and now she's in jail serving her time. Found guilty, everything. Not once was nobody in the courtroom.
Yeah.
O.J. Simpson cameras were in the courtroom, people.
I mean, that was a fiasco.
How was that so quiet? You know why? Because a lot of money involved on that list. And I
will say one thing. I think there was a deal done, because as soon as she was arrested and they took her behind closed doors, we started busting all these child trafficking. And we're talking like in the first month, they had nearly 300 people that were in the process of being trafficked. So that to me says she talked. And she made a deal, and good things are happening if that's true.
She gave up the providers, but not the people that enjoyed it. Enjoyed the fruits of it.
Yeah.
She basically is like a drug deal. She gave up her supplier, but not her users.
Not exactly.
Yeah, that's what it boils down to. Yeah. That's what it is. It's always smoke and mirrors. We're bringing this over here, so you're not paying attention what's going on over here. It's the history. So what are we gonna do? I'm gonna touch back on Oak Island, and then we'll move on, because I've been complaining. This is the most lackluster season I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I think we're 6 or 7 episodes in, and I've been griping to you weekly like this is the worst season ever.
There's nothing. Yeah.
And then we fast forward to this past week, and they start off in their observer room, and they're basically saying the gold ain't here. We can't spend no more money drilling this site. They show the numbers again of where they're moving farther away from traces of gold. And then the last 10 minutes of the episode, when they move the case on, it's like, bam, we hit wood,
boom,
98 foot in the ground. And then we hit wood another 10 foot from that 98 foot. So we're hitting a ceiling, we're hitting a floor. That's a void, 10-foot void. Where are we at? Is this the offset chamber? Is this the money pit? What is it? See you next week. Oh my fucking God. Really? Now I got to wait another week after this slow-ass season. You leave me like that.
And they finally give us something.
And then the suspense, and I told you, I'm part of this group on Facebook. This guy lives right across, and he gets in his little kayak daily, and he goes and takes pictures from a distance of the equipment on Oak Island, and he comments. In this past couple months, he's taking pictures, and he's commenting. He's like, never seen this kind of equipment out here. Never seen this big this big that. So he's seeing an influx of equipment that's never been out there before. So it makes you think, are we doing a big dig finally? What are we doing? Now I got to find out. And you know what's going to happen? It's probably close to season finale time, and they're going to leave you hanging for another year. So
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they'll get right to it, and then we'll have to wait. But yeah, like I said before, you know how they cut all these shows up and they splice it all together, and I think that's what they've been doing this year.
Yeah,
they've just been given they spliced out all the stuff that we don't really care about,
right?
And hopefully this whole back end will be just packed.
So, because 2 seasons ago, I don't remember if you remember how it ended, but it was the worst cliffhanger ever. It was the last day on Oak Island, the storms, the snow, everything's moving in. Gary gets down in the bottom of the case on the well, the money pit, the vault, and he gets down there with his metal detector, and he's fucking hitting metal everywhere.
Just everywhere.
And they're like, okay, you got to come out. We got to leave. So not only did they leave us, but they stopped what they were doing because winter was there, and they had to wait. And then we get to the new season, and it turned out to be fucking nothing. It's like, Where was this metal you were hitting in all these different places, 100 foot in the ground? So you wait a whole year, and it's that.
Yeah.
And then one more thing that's going to branch off Oak Island, and I'm curious to see. I don't know if you remember the spinoff, the Hunt for Civil War Gold, or the Laguna helped this guy look for the Civil War Gold. So, fun fact, I followed them on Facebook, and 2 years ago, out of nowhere, they comment and said, "Hey, we have stuff, we just can't show it right now." So they made it sound like the show is still going on. It's still going to happen, but they found something, and maybe now they got to get it. And that's been a 2-year cliffhanger that they can't show nothing, because if they did find where the gold is, and if you remember right, this gold was supposedly the bottom of Lake Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Because they pushed it off the Civil War carts. And this guy had all the information and all the stuff on it. So if you find it, you damn sure can't show it on the show until you secure it, because everybody's going to be out there looking for it. Now they know a certain pinpoint location.
Right.
But it's like, at what point do we get closure now? Civil War being one of my favorite eras of history. This gold, a whole train cart of it's missing. This guy's got all this information on it. You don't come back home for 2 years, but you leave a cryptic message that you got stuff to show, but you can't do it yet. What the fuck is going on with that? I need to Google that and search that some more.
Yeah, you need to, because I'm sure there's tons of legalities. I remember from the show that it's illegal to do anything in Lake Michigan.
Right.
They could move their hand, and if it moved dirt,
right, you can't touch it, you can't pick it up.
You couldn't dig, and you can't touch.
Right.
So that was the first hurdle that they were going over. And then, there's going to be groups that say that's our money.
Right.
And,
government's going to claim ownership because it was government gold.
Yep.
I can promise you one thing. If I'm underwater in Lake Michigan and I find a pile of gold, a couple of them bars are going in my pocket. I'm going to melt that gold down, and I'm going to sell it as something else.
Yeah.
I'm not leaving it down there. None of it.
Yeah, that would be a very difficult thing to do. And I think if you're anywhere, and you see something like that, you got to be good enough to keep your mouth shut and keep your wife from, buying the same color of purse or the same purse in 50 different colors.
Yeah.
Because then people will say, where did Jason get this money all of a sudden?
Found it on my property. Where? I'm not showing you. It's my property.
Not showing. Yeah.
It's kind of like I watched that show, the Netflix show that's filmed over there in the Carolinas, Outer Banks. And they find this treasure, and it's like they tried to melt down a big old piece of it and sell it, and it's crazy. It's a good treasure hunting show. My kid is blowing me up, man. All right, kids wanting macaroni and cheese. I'm like, fucking fix it.
Fix it.
All right, guys. So what we're going to do today, we're going to do a top 5. It's a holiday season. We were actually supposed to do this 2 weeks ago. So me and James, being the horror fans we are, we did a little different countdown for you today. We did the top 5 horror Christmas movies that we like.
Woohoo!
So that's what we're going to start with. And what we're going to do, James will do his 5, I'll do my 5, and then the 4, and then not 4. We'll do one at a time till we get to number 1. And I'm going to let Mr. Horror himself start at the number 5.
Well, I'm going to throw a couple in here that hopefully surprise some people.
Okay.
The first one is a movie that I think it came out in 2003. It's called Dead End.
Okay.
And I really liked it just as a horror movie, but it takes place on Christmas Eve. This family's going to their family for Christmas and end up having issues with this car on the road, and people within their vehicle start dying. Very, very cool. I won't say a lot about it.
Like a wrong turn.
something along that, which is why I really liked it. And they just can't find anybody on this road, and so it's a really cool, again, just not one that's going to be on most people's radar as a horror movie, but then you tie in the Christmas, and there's one part, the mom in it is the psychic from it's on the tip of my tongue and I can't think of it. The guy who gets lost in his sleep. They've made like 6 of them. He's got the red and black demon that's behind him all the time.
Is that what, Wishmaster or no?
Anyway, she's the mom in it, so everybody's going to recognize her from those movies.
I haven't seen that one. I'm gonna have to check that out. So, and that's what's good about your list, because I'm probably gonna go make me a list to watch.
Yeah, exactly. That's the fun part. Anyway, she, after a couple of people die, she kind of loses her mind, and she sits in the back seat and just eats this whole pie, and she does it in a way that is just hilarious. She's got her fingers in it, dipping it out and stuff, and it's what you would think somebody who lost their mind would do. So they're opening these presents, getting out whiskeys and stuff. So that was my number 5.
All right. Well, I thought outside the box for my number 5, like you did. I don't think a lot of people is going to associate this with horror because what it is, but it is a horror movie. It is from 1993. It is from the man himself, Tim Burton, and it is The Nightmare Before Christmas.
I had it on my list.
It's a cartoon, so I know a lot of people wouldn't think about it, but it is classic horror.
Yeah, it's gone both ways for me, and at the end, I ended up pushing it, taking it off, but.
Well, fun fact. So I had to remake my list because my original list is at my office, and it did not make my first list. But as I reevaluated and went back through and was making this list this morning, I was like, it's timeless. Everybody's seen it, whether you like horror or not. It deserves to be top 5.
Oh, I agree.
And everybody watched it, whether you like horror or not, from kids all the way to adults. So that was my number 5, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Insidious was the movie I was trying that I couldn't.
Insidious, yes.
With Dark Maul who stands behind him.
Yeah.
So Lynn Shay is the mom on that one. So
okay.
Number 4, I'm going to go outside the box again. Another movie that I don't think gets its just, and it could be because Elvis's granddaughter's in it. But
Lisa Marie.
No, granddaughter.
Oh, granddaughter. Okay.
Yeah. So it's called The Lodge.
Yeah.
And it's from 2020. And
that movie seems older than that.
It does seem older than that, but it's only 4 years old. But from the beginning, it just kind of keeps you going throughout it. And basically dad's got to work, so future stepmom goes to the lodge in the middle of nowhere with the 2 stepkids, and weird things start happening. Are they alive? Are they dead? But it's it's set around.
I have to go back and revisit that. I haven't watched that movie since it's come out, and I remember nothing about it other than her being in there and kind of just like snippets. But I definitely got to revisit that. So The Lodge. So now I got 2 to watch thanks to you. I'm writing down my list. So that's it. All right. Well, that's a solid number 4. That's had some celebrity royalty in it.
Yeah.
All right, my number 4 is a movie you could not live through the 80s and not see. 1984, the instant classic. Most people will not think about this as a Christmas movie, but it is 100% a Christmas movie because he was a Christmas present brought home by the dad. So Gremlins is my number 4. And you all remember the rules. Don't feed them after midnight. Don't get them wet. Don't shine bright lights in their eyes. That was the 3 rules to live by.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's one of the early Christmas classics because it is. I mean, it was a present for him.
Yep.
They talk about the girlfriend hates Christmas, and it's all because her dad disappeared on Christmas, and then they found him upside down in the chimney. So, absolutely. Good
it's
choice.
so well done. It's a horror movie, but it was geared for kids to watch.
Yeah.
Welcome to the 80s, folks. They force-fed us horror movies, and that's why our generation loves them now.
This is why we're so messed up,
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. They I saw a meme the other day. It said, Daddy, did you have Minions when you were growing up? And it's like, yes, we did, and it was a gremlin.
We had Spike and Gizmo is what we had.
Spike was...
what was it, Gremlins 2? I'll never forget when they were at the movie theater watching the screening and then Hulk Hogan stands up and does his little rant at the movie theater.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, you get no more 80s than that now. You got Gremlins, screening Gremlins with Hulk Hogan in the crowd.
With Hulk Hogan.
Oh, my goodness. All right, that was my number 4. So what you got for number 3?
Number 3, I'm going to go way back.
Oh, shit.
1974.
Oh, shit. We got the same one.
This is actually the first Christmas horror movie that I ever remember.
Yep.
I rewatched it the other day, and if you are a cinephile and you've watched the 1968 Romeo and Juliet, Olivia Hussey is in this movie.
Yep.
And unfortunately, with her clothes on, unfortunately, she passed away 2 days ago.
Yeah,
so to put this on the list and to find out that she just passed, I was really glad that I had watched it. But it is the original Black Christmas.
There you go. Very well done. And I'm going to just spin off of that and not really say that much, because what I did for my number 3 movie also was the 1974 Black Christmas, also paired with the 2006 Black Christmas. I find them equally as good. It's just the 2006 Black Christmas had a lot more eye candy in it.
It did.
So if you like your horror movies with eye candy, skip the 74, go to 06, equally as good. The 74 Black Christmas was like my Christmas version of My Bloody Valentine, the original My Bloody Valentine, which is awesome. And that'll be a top 5 coming down the line. We're just going to do holiday themed top 5 horror, which can be Thanksgiving, it could be Halloween, it could be My Bloody Valentine. So that is going to be another one coming down the line. But that's how I think of the original Black Christmas. It's just classic slasher. The My Bloody Valentine, man, the mine worker. I mean, just picking them off one by one.
Yeah.
Just classic. That's what horror was meant to be. Not all this supernatural possession and all this. Give me a slasher over anything. We're good to go.
And what I liked and was a little surprised about when I went back and rewatched this was the amount of kills that they show, which is 1. Yep. The very first girl he kills, they show it. After that, the girl disappears. You know what's happening, and then 5 minutes in the movie, or 5 minutes later, then they show the carnage, but they don't actually show the horror happening at the time.
Well, a lot of the old horror movies do that. It would black out the screen right at the kill, and then you would see the aftermath of the body later. It left the suspense. And just a spinoff on that, I'm going to test your horror knowledge. Friday the 13th is my favorite franchise. So out of all the Friday the 13th movies, how many did Jason actually not do the killing in?
Well, he didn't do it in the first one.
Correct.
and I don't remember after
Okay,
that.
so it could be a trick question how you look at it, but the other true time Jason didn't do the killing was either 6 or 7. It was the fat guy with the Snickers bar they killed at that camp, and he was the paramedic's son. So the
Oh yes,
paramedic dressed as Jason the rest of the movie and killed everybody at that
and it
house.
wasn't actually. Yeah.
And the other one you could think of was later. Was it Jason Goes to? No, was it Jason X, the one where they eat Jason's heart and they start killing? So technically, you could say it was Jason. Technically, you could say it couldn't. But 2 true movies where Jason didn't do the killing.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
prequel is about to bless us on Peacock if you haven't seen. The Camp Crystal Lake, we got a prequel.
Yes,
And it's about to start up.
that should be very interesting. They're doing
Favorite
so many
franchise ever.
they're doing so many prequels and origin stories that I think a lot of it gets just kind of washed out. It's like
Yeah, because supposedly it's the Nightmare on Elm Street prequel coming too.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Revive these characters. Get us some more movies. If a prequel is the way to go, let's do it. There's so much you can do with a prequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they just did the original Omen.
Yeah.
And I watched it, and it's like, okay, I mean, I knew this already. I don't really see where it brought anything new to it. I didn't learn anything I didn't already know.
Did you
watch
that's lazy? Did you watch the Pet Cemetery sequel? I have not watched it yet. The Bloodlines one.
I have not watched Bloodline, but I have heard it is really good.
Yeah,
and it was one of them I didn't watch because
how the grounds got all the magic of bringing people back to life. It was old Indian grounds and stuff. So I gotta definitely check that one out. I keep putting it off, but all right, man. What is your number 2? It's so funny. Black Christmas hit number 3 for both of us.
Both of us.
Great minds think alike.
So number 2, for me, Gremlins. That was that was the one as a kid. It's like, this is a great movie, and it's built around Christmas. I think you said enough about it, but it's a great Christmas horror movie.
And it's relevant, man. I could sit down with my kid right now and watch it, and it holds up.
Yeah.
It's kind of like watching Star Wars now in 1979, and those effects still hold up today, the way they made those movies. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's one of those movies that I don't think ever should be remade. There's a few of them that are just...
Oh, they will. They will fuck it up, but...
They do. I mean, we just talked about Nightmare on Elm Street, that last one that they did, the mask for Freddy Krueger was so hideous.
Well, where they messed up with not casting Robert again.
Robert Englund is
somebody that killed it in that spot, and they're still alive, and you recast, you just fucked up the movie. You could go film that movie again today, same exact story, same exact scene, same exact everything. Put Robert Englund in there, and it'd be a hit.
And I don't think they understood what it was for us, because the first one scared the bejesus out of me.
Yeah.
And then, the second one is way off plot.
Corny. They've become corny.
But by the time you got to the third one, Freddy Krueger was such a hit.
He's a character on his own.
And he was able to do that. And I think
he was larger than life.
That's what really was great. It's like, who do you root for here? We shouldn't be rooting for Freddy, but at the same time, the kills are welcome to prime time, bitch.
And once again, a movie with not that many kills in each movie. I mean, you might have got 3 or 4 kills the whole movie. He toyed with them the whole time.
The whole thing, yeah.
I always held Nightmare on Elm Street as my second horror franchise. Friday the 13th, ain't nobody topping it. Until I rewatched Nightmare on Elm Street from beginning to end last year. I did the same thing with Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th still holds up. But Nightmare on Elm Street, I'm like, God, it's just not as good as I remembered it being once I rewatch it at my age now. So I kind of like bumped it to number 2 and kind of moved moved it to number 3, and Halloween is kind of overtaken the second spot. And that's mostly in part to Rob Zombie remaking Halloween with his vision. His 2 movies saved that franchise. To me, the only reason Jamie Lee got to come back and finish the story out is for what he did with his 2 movies.
Yeah.
Rob Zombie's fucking genius when it comes to horror, and what he did with those 2 movies and the larger than life figure he made Michael Myers, like when that prison bus fucking crashes and he just like jumps out of it and you see how big of a guy he is and menacing. I'm like, thank you. Rob Zombie, you can remake anything you want.
My best friend who, used to have the haunted house with, Halloween is his movie.
Right.
And so he was really upset by the Rob Zombie, the way it was featured in it. And I told him, I said, here's my take on the 2. What Wes Craven gave us, or what John Carpenter gave us, was your normal middle-class kid who may have been born evil.
Right.
Rob Zombie gave us a kid who we as a society
made evil,
created.
Yeah.
And you see the drug and the abuse and everything. Mm-hmm. So, it just kind of comes out of what is scarier to you.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me, you never know the original Michael Myers. You never know who that's going to be in life. And I like them both. I'm still an original, but I can appreciate and really like what Rob Zombie did. But I have to use those perspectives of what the world created, what evil created.
Yeah, and like I said, in my opinion, Rob Zombie is what gave us the closing to Jamie Lee Curtis and her story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Halloween was dead, man. Nobody was doing nothing with it. Rob Zombie comes out, new generations watching Michael Myers. Oh, shit, let's check this out. And the way they ended it beautifully. I'm not going to say any spoilers if you haven't watched Jamie Lee's story unfold and end beautifully. That final scene where they're going through that yard.
Yeah.
And the whole town is there. I got fucking chills, man. I'm like, this is how you finish it.
It is. And you finish it in a way that there's no coming back from.
Oh, 100%. Right there in that instant, that
let somebody else take it.
Right.
This line is ended.
Right.
It didn't end at H2O. It didn't end at Halloween Ends. It ended here, and it's done.
It's kind of like the last Texas Chainsaw Massacre where they brought the original girl back who lived just for all that to happen. I'm like, you so missed the mark. Do it like Halloween. All right. So your number 2 was Gremlin. All right. My number 2, I know you probably haven't seen it. It's newer. It's 2021 movie. It's called Black Friday. It has Bruce Campbell in it, Mr. Ash versus Evil Dead. They are all mall employees, and they got to protect each other from a horde of parasited, infected shoppers. So it's like they're locked in the mall, and this fucking zombie apocalypse is trying to break in and get them. And they're fighting off the mall on a Black Friday. I like it. It's horror, but it's also campy horror. It's Bruce Campbell. It's
got Bruce Campbell in it.
It's goofy. It's funny. You see horror. It's almost like Zombieland comedy horror.
Yeah.
Such a good, I like that goofy horror sometimes. Not serious, but horror. You get to see some cool kills.
Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead was one of the best zombie movies.
100%, man.
And it was the exact same way, and it just made me Simon Pegg and the other guy just brilliant.
Yeah, I love it. And that's why I like Zombieland. It's so goofy, but it's fun. Like the whole Bill Murray scene in Zombieland. And what's the other zombie movie? What's it? No, it wasn't Zombieland. It's another one where they're on the rooftop and they're like shooting with the celebrities with snipers. They're finding the celebrities in the crowd and they're sniping.
Oh, I
them.
remember. Yeah. God, what was that?
Was it the guy that did? It's the guy that did the DC movies, the Zack Snyder. It's one of his horror movies, if I remember right.
Oh, okay.
That he did. He did this series of 2 or 3 like zombie horror movies, and if I'm not mistaken, it was that one. But it's so funny. So they were just looking for all the celebrities in the crowd, and they were just sniping them one by one.
Nice.
All right, man. What you got for your number one? Let's hear it.
My number one, going completely old school, the OG of Christmas horror, A Christmas Carol.
Boy. You know, it probably would have made my top 10. That's interesting because that's another one of those that it's cartoon, it's not cartoon.
Yeah. I have watched so many different. It's super timeless. It still has a great story. Every year they do spin-offs. I still think Scrooged is one of my favorites. I watched Spirited, where Ryan Reynolds plays
that was a good adaptation of it.
And so they're always making something of it.
Well, it's definitely outside the box because it's going to be your interpretation of horror. Does anybody get murdered? Right. Does anybody get killed? No. Does it fucking scare the life out of the character? Yes. Yeah. He's got 3 choices in life. You got past, present, future, and you better change your ways. So it's interpretive for sure.
Yeah.
It's what you interpret horror. It was scary.
It's probably the movie other than Elf that I have to watch every Christmas.
Yeah.
We watch something. And this year we actually found a 1921 silent film.
Yeah.
Like the original adaptation from the book.
Oh wow.
And it was like a 12 or 15 minute little movie. And I'm like, I don't know how they're going to put all this in. And they did it so brilliantly.
Huh.
But I mean, there's nothing like Jacob Marley showing up and his jaw falling off and pulling all those boxes and chained up. And
well, the one that always sticks in my head when somebody says Christmas Carol is being a kid, the Mickey Mouse Christmas Carol. I always remember them like cutting that 1 pea in half and sharing it at the table because they only had 1 pea. And you got him walking in with the crutch. The Mickey Mouse one seems to be the one my mind always goes to. I guess just being a kid in the 80s, and that's what you watched. Mickey Mouse Christmas Carol was always on, and it's always the same story. It's just a different adaptation of it, but it's always the same story. You have Scrooge, you have the 3 ghosts. I mean, that never changes. All right, that's a good one, man. That's top 5 list. So you got Dead End number 5, The Lodge number 4, Black Christmas 1974 3, Gremlins 2, and then you ended with the OG Christmas Carol. That's a tough list. Well, my number 1, and it ain't nothing. They're gonna have to work their ass off to top this movie in life for sure. This is 2021, I believe, or it may have been 2022, but it's Violent Night. It's a new Christmas one. It's Santa Claus is the main character. If you like John Wick and you like action movies and you like some gruesome kills and some action, this by far is going to be the best horror Christmas movie you ever watch. Man, you're talking about candy canes to the eye, fucking M16s, grenades. This is
Thor's hammer.
Yeah, this is from beginning to end action of how this happens, and it's Santa Claus doing all the action, guys. This isn't Elf. This isn't Krampus. This is Santa Claus gone rogue.
And I liked that idea of Santa Claus was somebody before he was Santa.
Right.
had another life,
Mhm.
and that life had to change
Kind of
for
like
him
Tim
to take
Allen,
on. Yeah,
the Santa Claus.
yeah. I mean,
You got
and
picked to be
again,
Santa Claus. Yeah.
it kind of fits that whole
Yeah.
Christmas Carol thing too. You know,
Right.
here's what you've done. Here's your life. If you're going to be a better person, it has to change.
And the last thing he wanted to do was be that person again in this instance, but
Mm-hmm.
he had lives to save, and it brought back that person out of him. It was so well done. The guy is an amazing actor. I don't remember his name right now, but he's the guy that plays Hopper in Stranger Things. He is
David
great.
Harbour.
Yes, he is great in everything he does. So if you're a Stranger Things fan, definitely watch this. Don't even
Yeah,
get me started on the 4-year hiatus of Stranger Things. I'm so pissed off. I'm gonna have to binge watch everything again before the new season comes out because I done forgot.
it's gonna shock everybody that 11 has these size C's now.
No, they'll ace bandage them
But
down.
she's in 7th grade, you know.
Yeah, they'll ace bandage them down. It's no different than the cast of Grease being in the 30s playing high school kids. If you cast everybody
Right.
that age or older, they look younger. That's what you're gonna have to do. Well, that was it, guy. Here my top 5 rundown again. You got The Nightmare Before Christmas 5, Gremlins 4, Black Christmas 1974 and 2006. I combined for number 3. I equally like them. Black Friday 2021, and number 1 was Violent Night. And I'm telling you guys, not only for the horror aspect, but the action of Violent Night. Man, it's going to be hard to top that because most of these Christmas theme horror movies are super low budget. They don't have big name actors in it. They don't have the money. They don't have the advertisement. Most of them don't even go to theaters. But boom, you had Violent Night, A-rated actor, movie exposure. This was a big time film, and it was good. There was a lot of money behind this, with effect
And you
wise, cast
and
wise.
you've got Beverly D'Angelo, who is,
Yes.
you know, one of the biggest Christmas moms of our
Yep.
generation,
Yep.
and you know,
A lot of
playing the mom
crushes
and
on
dad.
her back in the day.
Oh man, there wasn't a vacation show where there wasn't some type of shower scene. So
She was the original MILF.
yeah, that's true.
100%. She was the original OG mom with kids and a husband, and the things you would do to her if you had her.
Yeah, I had one more on my list that was on the fringe. Um, Silent Night, Deadly Night from 1984.
I toyed
Big
with those,
slasher.
and there was a
Yeah,
remake of that one as well. They had a remake
yeah.
later. I toyed with those as well. I didn't find them to be as good as the 5 I listed.
I agreed. I just
They would have
I had
definitely
that one
made a
down.
top 10 list. They would have made a top 10 list for sure. But 5, they got edged out.
Yeah,
I was with you. I toyed with them. Because my first list, I just wrote 10 down, and then I was trying to just decipher from the 10 which 5 I like better. So it
which
was
one?
wrote down originally, but never made the top 5 on either list. And while we're on horror, did you watch on Netflix The Fall of the House of Usher? Did you watch that show?
Love Mike Flanagan.
I love Carla Gugino. Listen, I got a
Oh,
crush on this woman my whole life. I will watch anything she
forever.
does. I
Yeah,
slept. I slept on The Fall of the House of Usher. I didn't watch it until last year, and once I started that, I could not stop. Guys, this is classic horror with a twist. I mean, this is definitely, you make a deal with the devil, and you are going to have to pay at some point in
you have
your
to say
life.
at some point.
And that's
Yeah,
what this movie was, and it was so well done. The kills were awesome. It just, everything about it screams horror. Loved it. Loved it. And I don't find many people that's watched it, so I don't get to talk about it often, but it's amazing.
yeah. No, anytime Flanagan comes out with something,
Yeah.
he's so good. Um, and of course, he puts his wife in all his movies.
Yeah.
And
Well, you're
I
his fan.
remember
And
reading.
anytime Carla does anything, I'm all
Oh,
on
Carla
it. That's why
Gugino is just
Every movie she's done, every TV series she's been a part of, me and Jerry, we're hooked on her, man. We'll watch it. If we find something she's in, we share it with the other. That movie where she goes to the lodge with her husband and he has a heart attack while she's handcuffed to the bed.
Yes.
That was a great one, man. She did the show Roadies with Luke Wilson. It only had one season before it was canceled on HBO. Still a great show. I just will watch everything. Whoa, the first one, Sin City, man. Her walking naked through the scene in Sin City is like,
hey, Spy Kids.
oh yeah, she doesn't age and she is hot, dude. This girl, she got to be in her 60s now. She is fine, and that's where we're at, guys. We made it. We're right at an hour. Like I said, doing a little thing different. We'll occasionally still have the guests on here, but we're going to try to put some of these out every couple weeks, not weekly right now. I can't commit to that, but maybe every 2 weeks, twice a month if we can, maybe once a month for sure. Life is busy. He's got his own life. I got my own life, but the good thing is we record this and then I edit and put it on YouTube. So, I mean, it's easy to set aside an hour here and there, but yeah, life's crazy. But I like it. A little different format, just goofing off. You may not like the subject matter this week, but make sure to turn in the next week. But we're just going to bullshit about local, whatever's going on in the world in the time. And then we'll kind of end the episode with a new top 5 list every week. It's kind of fun. I like seeing what other people think. It may be top 5 best boobs in Hollywood next time. You never know. I mean, it could be anything. Best midget porn stars. I mean, you just never know where the top 5 list will take you.
You can't beat Bridget the Midget. That's the OG right there.
I don't know, man. You can these days. I don't know if you've looked around on social media, but they got some hot strippers with OnlyFans these days, some midgets, man. And on X, on Twitter, Bridget the Midget started it all, but there are some, man, yeah, that's a whole nother topic. For another time. That's a whole episode on its own. Midget porn stars. Next episode. See you there. That's what we're at, guys.
If you didn't know Jason, now you know Jason.
Yeah, and we're not going to bore you to death. This ain't going to be no 2-hour show. I mean, we're going to run 45 minutes to an hour, maybe an hour, 10 minutes every now and then. Like I said, it's barrel burner, so we're definitely going to have a cigar lit. You may have a whiskey in our hand. You never know what we're going to have, what we're going to do. I definitely have a good one we're going to do, and we may do that next time. Let's go ahead and plan that. I want to do the top 5 golf movies of all time.
Woo!
Top 5 golf movies of all time. Top 5. And there's some good ones out there. That's
going to be, that might even be tougher than this list.
It's going to be cutthroat because a lot of them could be first. Definitely a lot of them could be second.
Yeah.
Because, I can name probably 10 right now that I love that are golf.
And I heard that they're coming up with a Happy Gilmore 2.
January 1st on Netflix. It's already filmed and done.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if the January 1st is correct. I seen it posted on Facebook this week that it would drop January 1st. And I would be happy with that dropping this week. All the old cast is back. Some new people are in
Except
it.
Bob Barker.
Chambo was in it. Paige Spernick, if you follow golf, is one of the hottest social media influencers out there. I think Tiger Woods is in it. I mean, there was a lot of names in it, but the OG cast is back, which they've been toying with this movie for years. And I don't know if they kept the same premise, but the premise was going to be a couple years ago where Happy comes back for the senior tour. It's him and Shooter McGavin in the senior tour now. So it's a whole new aspect. And they did a little teaser this week where Shooter McGavin's in a graveyard and Happy walks up on him or something. And then they kind of just eye each other. And then that's the end of the teaser. But yeah, I can't wait. Happy Gilmore is by far one of my favorite movies ever.
Oh, somebody learned how to putt.
And actually, one of my favorite my Adam Sandler movies ever doesn't even have Adam Sandler in it. Most people won't even know it's a Happy Madison, but Grandma's Boy is my top fucking Adam Sandler movie ever. Grandma's Boy is hilarious. All of his people are in it, but Adam's not. But it is a Happy Madison production. Oh, it's so good. The video game testers, the guy lives with his grandma. I mean, it's just so funny. The jabs they take in there. You got JP who thinks he's got a robot. He's got robot legs. He's running beep, 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 robot sound. You got the guy sleeping with the other grandma in the house, the young kid. I mean, it's just so much to it. It's got Fat Jonah Hill in it when he was super fat.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's hilarious. So yeah, it's definitely one of the ones you got to watch if you've never watched it, because I put it right up there with Happy Gilmore, if not even above it. It's beginning to end so funny, and it's that juvenile teenage humor. It's everything. It's drugs. It's sex. It's pervertedness. It's taking jabs at your coworkers. I mean, it's what we all acted like as a teenager. It's fucking hilarious. And the guy's like in his 30s living with his grandma. So makes it even more funnier.
So, last thing on Christmas movies. Have you watched Red One?
We actually watching it today when I go back in. We were going to watch it last night, but the wife realized it was a 2-hour movie, and she's like, I can't commit because it was already late. But that will be watched today. We were going to watch it before vacation, and then we just got busy and left, but that will be watched today for sure.
I watched it the other night. You will like it. You will like
it. Lets me know I would like it.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by.
And I'm glad you say that, because a lot of people said it was horrible. I know people that went to the movies to see, and they were like, "It sucked," but I don't really trust their knowledge.
Well, you have to. They throw a lot of historical knowledge in because they have Santa and they have Krampus.
Okay.
And they have another person, of which I will leave that for you. But they take all this Eastern European, where we get Santa from, and kind of roll it all together. And I love J.K. Simmons, but
yeah,
man, they go all out on the reindeer and the sleigh.
Okay.
It is something.
Okay, I can't watch. I'm kind of excited. I'm gonna speed them up and make them watch it this evening for sure. I can't wait.
So it hits all the genres. At some points it's funny. At some points it's almost horror.
Okay.
Some of the fights they have, and
I see we got we got a horror movie being screened right now that's going to come out. The black and white one I'm pretty excited about. What is it? Nosferatu? Yeah, that looks pretty good. I've some social media people I follow that went to the screenings that are horror fans, absolutely loved it. And then we got another big one in January hitting theaters. Shit, I'm gonna have to Google it now. Because I can't get off of here without knowing what that one was again. I've seen a preview for it. All right, let's go. 8 new releasing. We got our new Resident Evil, George Romero's Resident Evil, coming on video demand January 7th. Oh, The Monster Beneath Us. It's limited theatrical. Released January 3rd. Then we got one called Bird Eater hitting theaters January 10th. So we do have 2 coming to theaters in January. Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare in theaters 13th, 14th, and 15th. It is the newest entry in the Poohniverse, where they did the Pooh Bear scary movie. So this is a new one to that genre. It will be in theaters in January. You have Dino Gator is dropping January 14th on
I'm sure
video on demand. That was
filmed in Lafayette.
Yeah, then you have Wolfman. That's another one I'm waiting on. Wolfman is a Universal movie. So we're getting a classic Universal horror guy reboot. That will be in theaters January 17th. You got Both Eyes Open January 17th in theaters. So January, for some reason, is going to be a bigger horror month than October.
Don't understand
it. But yeah, those have been on my radar. So January is going to be a good month for horror. I can't wait to get some new horror out there. And I'm really excited about Wolfman. because the classic Universal horror figures are some of my favorite, man. You're talking about Creature of the Black Lagoon, Dracula, Frankenstein, Brad of Frankenstein, Invisible Man, Wolfman. This is what horror is all about. This is the best stuff.
So there's another new movie. I can't remember who's in it, but this guy and this girl, they're stationed above a cavern.
Okay.
And they live up there by themselves, and they're supposed to keep whatever's in that cavern from getting out.
Oh shit.
And I've seen the trailer.
Now, is there gonna be a theater release or straight to demand? Okay.
No, it's a theater.
I'm in.
Yeah, what is it?
Bad as I know it, I hate the sound. Most of these streams are going to turn into horror and Oak Island rants for a little while.
Yeah, it's kind of sounding like that, isn't it? So let me see new movies for 2025.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what that is, especially if it's going to theaters.
Yeah, because they're not the two aren't supposed to have any contact, but they start holding up signs and getting to know one another, and then at some point in time they have to like one of them falls in, so the other one has to go in after them, and we find out what's actually down in. But this cavern
nothing good.
Yeah, this cavern is supposed to keep whatever would destroy the earth in there.
Kind of sounds like Riddick being in that cave and it being dark.
Yeah,
he can see at night. That was also good.
Okay, I may have to.
Yeah, no biggie. We'll keep
send that to you when I come back. I'm not finding it in 2025 yet, but
it may have been delayed. All right, well, that's what we'll do. We'll stop it here, and we talked about a lot today, and like I said, in a couple of weeks we'll have another one of these up for you. Drop us a comment if there's a top 5 you would like to see us do. Drop a comment, let us know what you would like to see a top 5 done of.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll put one together, man. We'll definitely do a video. We'll feature your question, and we'll do a top 5 off what you would like to see. And see what it do. I mean, we may do cigars one time. We may do bourbons. I mean, you never know. It's endless of what you can rank a top 5 of. So
exactly,
that's going to be it today, everybody. Have a happy and safe New Year. This should be live on YouTube before the New Year. I should be able to get it up today or tomorrow. So definitely happy New Year. Be safe out there. Don't Jason Pierre-Paul it and lose a few fingers with your fireworks. Just stay safe. Be smart and stay out of trouble, and definitely watch these videos, like them, share us, drop them a comment.
Yeah.
And that's going to be it, guys. Appreciate it, Deuce. Stay put, man. We'll see you in a minute.
Love it.